Hi, Sheer 7. Okay, I'm back and I'm just going to do a real quick esoteric breakdown of these names. I'm not going to do like an in-depth video of this because I don't like giving my energy to certain things that I see on a different level. Okay, so I'm just going to give it to you, break it down to you real quick. You can do with it what you want. Okay? Let's start off. Okay. First of all, let's start off by, okay, a lot of people go by the Bible, okay? And a lot of people read the Bible as metaphor, okay? So we know that. So there is information in the Bible that we can use to understand what's going on, okay? And when I say that, I mean the codes or the metaphoric meaning or the guides. Okay, so in the Bible, it talks about how Michael will come from the south and raise, all this and that and the awareness and, all this kind of stuff. But it says he would come from the south. And when they say Michael, that means he who is like God. And this can be many aspects, many different people. It's not just one person. Okay, so let's start off. And you're just going to see what's going on. I'm not going to give any opinion. I'm just going to tell you what's going on. Okay, George Michael Zimmerman. The name George translates into Slayer of the Dragon. Michael, who is often depicted as stepping on a serpent or a dragon's neck in many photographs and paintings. The name Michael means like God. Okay? Y'all getting this? Now, Zimmerman, that name translates into carpenter. So if you can see where I'm going with this, you would understand. So, you have Slayer of the Serpent Dragon, who is like God and a carpenter. Okay, so you have that aspect. Then you have Trayvon Martin. Trey means three, Von means of, and Martin means Mars, or can also stand for war, or the masculine symbol. So you have the Trinity, or God of the masculine, or God of war, or God of, something. So you have the Trinity versus basically the same thing, but on the other side, on the opposite side. Okay, because you have the God, you have the knight, which is St. George, and then you have the carpenter, which is the Jesus figure. So that's the Trinity as well. So you have these two against each other, as above, so below. Yin, yang, black, white. Okay? And then, okay, now let's fast forward. Now we have Darren Wilson. Darren translates into oak tree. And oak tree symbolizes courage, power, and legend. Okay? And the name Wilson translates into desire or son of desire, which means free will. Okay? So what you have is courage, power, and free will, a legend. Okay. Then let's go to Michael Brown. Michael, who is like God. Brown, the color brown. Brown skin. Okay. So we have a brown person who is like God against free will, courage, power, and legend. So this is basically saying, free will versus God, the original sin, So that's what's going on there. Okay, now we have, okay, Daniel Panateleo, that's Italian. This is the officer who was not indicted over the murder of Eric Garner. And Daniel translates into judgment of God. Pantaleo translates to all merciful. So right here you have the judgment of God, who is all merciful, but he kills. Okay, now you have Eric Garner. Let's translate Eric. Eric is translated into ever or eternal ruler. Okay? Garner translates into grain, or the garter of the grain, or the seed, or the food. Okay? The guardian of the seed, which is, a seed can be seen as knowledge, something that can be planted and grown into something bigger. Grain, they talk about in the Bible grain and seed a lot. If you want to go look up some scriptures on grains and seeds, there are metaphors for something that's beneath the surface, something that has not bloomed, something that is capable of feeding the masses and producing and creating wealth and blah, 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 blah. Okay? So we know what seeds are. So if you look at all these names, I mean, I don't believe in coincidence. I'm sorry. I've been seeing things too long to believe in coincidence. Now, these names are for a reason. And like in every case, in almost every case, you'll start to see some weird, questionable things that just don't add up or make sense. Now, if you incorporate the names and the meanings of the names, and you can see that this is a psychological, spiritual, astral, physical, emotional, racial, it's all of that combined. And when they use names, look, I wrote all, this is my notes. I'm not reading a book, y'all. Y'all see my sloppy handwriting. When they use names, this is subconsciously supplanted into your mind, even if they're just names, okay? It's sort of like seeing the color red. This does certain things to your brain, the chemicals in your brain, versus looking at the color blue, okay? When you hear these certain names, or when you hear these certain names did this to this certain name, it's a code to your subconscious mind. And that code, or whatever it's supposed to do, that programming, is showing you and supplanting in your mind something. Okay? And when you figure out what that something is, by, looking at the name meanings, you will understand that that's why you shouldn't buy into it. You shouldn't give your energy to it. And that you should not accept it. Like, all these men who murdered, they're free. Okay? Think about this. All these men who murdered are free, and their names all mean something that has to do with God. Now, when you look at the God that was forced upon all these people of color, you have to understand this is how they're enforcing it even further, because people are straying away from the religion that was forced on them, okay? And now it's being done psychologically and subconsciously, okay? They can't expect someone to sit down and read the Bible and be obedient anymore. It's not working. So they subconsciously supplant these names with meaning into your brain, on the media, around the globe, around the country. And when you put these names in order and together and against, the people that they killed, then that is sending you a deep, deep, deep hidden subconscious message that your God, or the God that is over you and is your final judge, and looks like this, however that person looks, okay? We all know that the God that they want and the God that they portray and the God that they paint and draw it's not the God that is. It is the God that they created and the God that they want to keep in place, to keep order, to keep supremacy, to keep this, to keep that. Now, everyone knows that, you know, there is certain privilege in this world, and it's not given to the people of color. We all know that. That's obvious. Okay? So, I'm just giving you these names and their meanings. You can go Google them. You can go look them up. You'll find the same exact thing, and you will start to put the puzzle together, and you will understand what's really going on. Okay? I'm going to end that video there. If you have anything to add to that, like if you have any extra facts or meanings or codes or subconscious implants or esoteric hidden meanings behind all of this, you can go ahead and put it in the comments. I do have separate videos on Trayvon Martin and Michael Brown and the esoteric hidden meaning and symbolism behind all this stuff. I have not done one on Eric Garner, but again, over tobacco. Like I did Michael Brown. He was, you know, harassed and shot and killed over some cigars, tobacco. And then Eric Garner was killed and, you know, over selling loose cigarettes, tobacco. Tobacco is symbolic. Tobacco means food of the gods. That is why in certain African and Haitian and Brazilian and Santeria spiritualities, they blow cigar smoke on, you know, their altars and stuff, because cigars have tobacco. That's why they leave offerings of cigarettes to certain deities, because tobacco is known as food of the gods, if you understand what I'm saying. So, and again, the Trayvon Martin thing, I know he was too young to be smoking. He didn't smoke. He had Skittles and an Arizona tea, and I broke down the meaning of Skittles. A rainbow, the kundalini, the colors, the chakras, the rising kundalini. Okay, Arizona means the snake, which is the same thing. In red, you know. So what you have is the rising of the serpent of the kundalini. Okay, so all of this stuff, if you really look at it from a distance and not listen to what they're saying, if you just put the mute on your ears and just look, you will understand all the symbolisms that's going on. You will see a totally different thing. You will understand what they're trying to do. And it's a little too late. It's really a little too late, because, you know, unless you are so lazy and depend on people for your knowledge, you will not go out and do the research yourself. You know, if something doesn't seem right, if something just seems too easy or too disturbing, you have to listen to that inner voice, and you have to go and do your own research. Because I say this because this is how you were brainwashed in the first place, by being too lazy to go and research the truth. Instead, you just took what someone gave you and you said, okay, it sounds good, blah, 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 blah. No. Sorry, can't do it. I don't. And it's not a trust issue. It's a historical issue. Okay? All right, I'm done. Please pass this video around if you find it informational. Please add to it. I welcome knowledge. Okay. Thanks. Peace.